So one of the things that we talked about in the last video for lesson 10 is that our switches are determined either by an integer input or a character input. So if you look back at the code, we said the switch was determined by this int choice right here. So what we're going to do is we're also going to run an example where it's determined by the character, which is shortened to CHAR. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my calculator and I'm going to say copy. And I'm going to right click in there and I'm also going to say paste. Doesn't really like that once you name it, so I'm going to rename this calculator CHAR so that we know what it is. So go into your new program, it should be the same as before, and we're just going to edit it so that it runs by a character choice instead of a integer choice. So if we're in our program, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 here on line 17 through 20, we're going to make them A, S, M, or D. So that way it kind of makes sense because it goes with what we're trying to do. So then we're going to ask the user for their choice, but we're not going to input an int anymore. We're going to input a character. Now, characters are a portion of a string. So here where it says next int, we're going to import a string. So we're going to say string choice equals KB reader dot, and remember it's the next line, text. Then we want to force it to be that character. So in order to get a character from a string, we're going to set up our variable type, which is char, and then I'm just going to name it ch. We're going to call it choice because that's what our string is called. We're going to use the string method char at, and it is at index 0. So remember way back when we were learning about strings and we talked about the characters inside them and the index. So if we want a character, it's at index 0, which means it's the very first and the only character we're even going to look at. So you could type in addition, but it would only look at the A, so it would make that choice. Now down here in our switch statement, we're not looking at choice because choice is the string that we put in. We're looking at ch because we're looking at that character. I'm also going to put in here that char at is a string method that we can use. And trust me, we'll use it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our cases because now we're typing in A, S, M, or D. So instead of case 1, we're going to put in case A. But because it's a character, much like a string, strings use quotes, characters use apostrophes. So we're going to fix all these. So S3 is now capital M, and 4 is now capital D. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick here within the switch. So remember, we put break in there to not do any more cases, but to exit the switch. So what if someone typed in a lowercase a? What you can do is say for case A or case lowercase a, this code executes because there's not a break after capital A. It only comes after this line executes. So we're going to do the exact same thing with the rest. Give them that lowercase option. And don't forget your regular colon, not a semicolon. Regular colon, not a semicolon. And I just did it, you guys. What is the matter? Here we go. Okay, so this way it should still work. All right, guys. Moment of truth. Let's test this monster. So my choice, first of all, I'm going to put in something wrong. I'm going to put in 8, 7. Okay, so it still says please type only 1, 2, 3, or 4, which is no longer correct for our default. So make sure you fix your default. So we want it to be A, S, M, or D. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and run this and do something right. So I'm going to try division. Okay. So this does work. Hooray! So the switch really isn't that bad. It just looks like it's a lot of code, but if you keep it chunked up like this, it'll make your life a lot easier for writing your code. So if you look in your book, what you're going to do is you have 2 codes you're going to write for lesson 10. That's right. You got 2. The first one is easy because it is exactly what we just did, but you're going to, we can go ahead and set it up right now. You're going to right-click, copy, right-click, paste, and we're going to call it not calculator character, but calculator string. We're going to fix this calculator string so that you actually want the words add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So that's what you're going to fix. That's on page 48. The next one that you guys are going to do is on page 50. You're going to write a new code that is called Weight on Other Planets. So you're going to have 4 different options where you're going to ask them to enter in their weight. You're going to multiply that weight by the certain number and present it. You will also have some questions for lesson 10, but they're pretty short. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.